Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Paul Kerstetter, and today I want to talk about a crosscut sled or table saw sled that I want to make. I do have a table saw sled, and it's this one right there. And that table saw sled is 3 feet by 3 feet. It's a little big, it's seen its days. So I'm going to make a smaller table saw sled, and it's going to be 16 inches by 16 inches. What I'm gluing up right now is the support for the sled. It's made out of 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch pine, and I'm gluing two pieces together. It might be better to use hardwood for the support of the sled because that's a little bit stiffer, but this is a smaller sled that's only 16 inches by 16 inches. So once I make the sled, then I can use this wood here and cut it up real nice to small pieces and glue it together and then make some coasters. So for the sled, the table saw crosscut sled, I've cut out a piece of 3/4 inch plywood, and then I used a thickness planer to make my guide rails, which go in there real nice. They're a little bit elevated above the table saw bed, but if you put them on there like this, if you put them on there a little bit crooked, then your fence is going to be a little bit misaligned to the edge of the board. So what I know is if I put the edge of this guide 1 1/8 inches over from the edge all the way down, then it'll be fairly straight. And to do that, I'm going to use my T-square. But I'm going to use this to make a straight line based off on the edges of the, I have my mark already there for 1 1/8 inches. And then I'm just going to draw a straight line. There we go, I got a straight line, and it's parallel to the edge real nice. And it's about 1 1/8 inches down there, and 1 1/8 inches up there. It looks really good. Okay, what I'm doing now is pre-drilling holes in the guides. And I'm doing that so the wood doesn't split. Next thing I'm going to do is use this bit to make so the screws can be recessed in the wood. Okay, I got my holes drilled in my guides, and I got this drywall screw tool where it makes it so that you don't sink the screw in too far. And I'm going to put that in here. I'll line that up with the line on the board. I got the guide attached to the table saw sled base, and just to check to make sure that it slides, it does slide. What I'm going to do here is put the guide in there. Yeah, that's the right way. Put the guide in there and put that on there, and then I'll put two dabs of glue on there and let it sit overnight. And there you go. So that should get it in the right spot, the second guide in the right spot. So I'm going to let that sit overnight and take it up and then put the screws in. Okay, the two little glue dabs that I put on are underneath this guide here. And I was able to lift the sled out of the table saw so the guide didn't fall off. I didn't wait 24 hours though. So I'm going to cheat a little bit here. to get this job done, I'm going to put some clamps on it. And then I'm going to put the screws in. And that way I'll accelerate my task. I'll accelerate my task by a few hours here. So there we go. We got it clamped. And now I'm going to put the screws in. Okay, I was able to get the screws in successfully without moving the guide. And let's see if it slides here. Yep. Slides pretty nice, it's tight. I could put some paste wax on there to make it slide better. But it looks like we got the guides in the right place. One thing I wanted to show you, if you want to get a good idea of how well the guides went on and how aligned they are, you can do a measurement on this side and on this side to the edge of the table saw bed and to see how well you did. I got 1 1/8 inches there and 1 1/8 inches there, so it looks really like right on the money. So that's a good start for the table saw sled. Okay, so what I did is I thickness planed the handle for the table saw sled and I ran it through the joiner. And so this is a 90-degree angle now. And I already put one handle on the table saw sled here. And then, so what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to put one screw in, and that way the board will be able to pivot, and that way I'll be able to align it to a perfect 90 degrees. So let's flip it over. And let's get this aligned as best we can here to the edge. I've already got the holes pre-drilled and countersunk. Okay, let's get it as precise as we can. I think that's it. All right, so now we got our board that can rotate there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut I'm not going to cut all the way through it. I'm going to cut partially through it. And so that way there will be some support on the front end and it won't just be flapping in the wind there. So next thing I'm going to do is put this in there. So I'm going to line it up like this. Except it's over on this side. And so I don't know if you can see that, but this is the way I'm doing it here. So I've got it lined up perfectly, you know, just by, I've got this one's in the groove and this one's against the fence, and it makes, and you press it. And then I'm going to clamp it down. Try not to move it when I'm clamping it. So what I did here is clamped it down so it's perfect. And then what I'm going to do is flip it over and put that screw in there. So, take the clamp off, and now the front of the board is fixed. And what we're going to do is cut a piece of wood now and see how well I did. Yeah, let's cut it this way. So I'm going to cut a piece of wood in the crosscut sled here, and I'm going to measure the angle to see how close to 90 degrees I got. But that there is looking really good. I don't know. There's it looks pretty good. It looks really good. Like crosscut sled is cutting 90 degrees. I don't see any error in it at all. There might be a little bit of error. I see like a really small little bit of error, but it's really good. Okay, the last feature of the table saw sled is hand protection. This helps keep the hand out of the area where the blade comes out. So it's a reminder. I think it's important to have hand protection on a table saw sled. Okay, everybody, that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like it and subscribe to the channel. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.